Thanks for checking out my video. If you don't already know who I am, my name is Michael Ingdahl. I am a guitarist based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I am a husband. I am a father to a wonderful 1.5-year-old little boy, and I'm also a stay-at-home dad right now. I guess the purpose of this video is to kind of reintroduce myself, briefly touch on what's going on, and work towards in the future expanding more on life in general. I've used YouTube for the most part as a means to showcase live videos, the occasional lesson, all in which has been very music focused, music based, and I'm just kind of at a point in my life right now where I really want to expand beyond that. Doesn't mean that it isn't still important, doesn't mean that's mainly the topic of discussion, but I want to move past that, really kind of deep dive into other interests and experiences. And I guess the first big thing to talk about is at the beginning of this month I completely shut down my Instagram and Facebook page. I did it. So far so good. It's been great. If you go on my website, I wrote a blog post about it, just kind of outlining my reasonings. Who talks like that? My reason for leaving the social media platforms, but the gist is that I was spending way too much time trying to curate a particular look, and just it became more about how I came across as opposed to what was actually going on, what I was working on, and doing it all just felt really fake after a while. Yeah, it just got to the point that it was really hard to keep up with and try to do like in a healthy way. You know, it's really easy to go down the rabbit hole, and I found myself doing that more often than not, and rather than actually sharing what was going on, it was more consuming. And then the comparison game comes in, and then, you know, you start getting overwhelmed with imposter syndrome and stuff. And I know I'm not alone on that, but, you know, I don't think it's talked enough, like in you know, the day-to-day. Anyone who has pursued any creative or entrepreneur outlet knows that there comes a time where you kind of hit that crossroad and you're rambling, but I'm just trying to figure out who I am, who I really am, and I don't think that I've given an honest representation of that, even through my music and playing. And the goal is to just be a little bit more raw, vulnerable, open, and honest, and not, you know, so here's only the good stuff, and then we don't talk about any of the bad stuff. I just think there's a lot of pressure that we have to look and act and present ourselves a certain way, otherwise we won't be taken seriously. What resonates the most with people is the vulnerability of it all, and I believe that for me, I kind of, you know, put a lid on that for a long time. There was this unrealistic expectation I put on myself, that I thought that I had to act a certain way, play a certain way. Unless it was absolutely pristine and perfect, I couldn't post it, and I got in my own way. So I just had to part ways with it. I feel like at least through this, it can be a little bit messier, a little bit more honest, with everything that's going on. And so there's just a lot more important aspects in my life that require my attention in other avenues that I want to pursue. And I felt that the way that I was using social media was a hindrance to all of that, and so I got rid of it. And like I said in the blog post, and I still stand by this, there may come a time that I bring it back. I'm not, you know, putting a firm, you know, foot down on forever, because forever is a really long time and situations can totally change. But for now and for the foreseeable future, I'm just not going to be using those platforms. And of course, the biggest worry right out of the gate is, well, how am I going to promote my gigs? How are people going to know where I'm playing? Well, given the circumstances of COVID-19 and the quarantine and businesses opening and closing, again, right now, that's probably the least of our worries and concerns. There's a lot of places here in Tulsa that have opened back up, and I've gotten to play a few gigs in the last 2 months. And July actually got totally booked up, which was great until the place I was going to play at decided to shut down for the rest of the month, which was probably the smart choice. And I'm not upset about that. I'd rather everyone be safe and sorry. So this time in quarantine has given me a lot of opportunity to reflect and think about where I want to head next and what it is that I want to work on. I think the last 5 years or so have been so focused on getting my name out there, recording, playing live, teaching. It became such an unhealthy balance, and I became so much more worried about the title and the product rather than the journey going through all that and growing through it. And so it just put a really bad taste in my mouth, and I don't want to be that kind of musician. I don't want to be that kind of teacher. I don't want to be that kind of person. And I know for the longest time I portrayed myself in a very rigid way, and it finally caught up with me. Here I am putting myself out there saying that I want to expand my horizon outside of music and talk about that. I think it's an overlooked aspect for a lot of musicians. There's a couple of my heroes that are very open about their other interests and hobbies and what they do and part of who they are, and it resonates really well. I've got a lot of heroes that are kind of put on this pedestal of like, oh, they're so great and they do all these awesome things, but nothing about them in the personal sense. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got your other heroes that are just like, yeah, I play guitar, bass, or saxophone or whatever, but I'm also really into snowboarding or hiking, or I don't know, they write books or something, or they knit sweaters. It doesn't matter. What's cool though is seeing all those other areas of interest that then in turn influence their art and their approach to becoming a better musician. I really hate talking on camera. I'm sure it will get easier in time, but this is extremely nerve-wracking. Look back to any of my videos, or if you've ever seen me perform live and get on a mic, it's atrocious. So bad. But it'll get better in time. The last couple of years have been full of change. My responsibilities and my priorities have shifted, and I would like to include them more in my musical journey rather than separating them and excluding them, like, oh, that's something that happens. Michael does this stuff over here, and then over here he's, a musician. He has a family, and then he also is a musician. They can't be separate anymore. I am very interested in health and diet and fitness and figuring out what works best for me. I really enjoy reading nonfiction books primarily. I'm really into biographies and like self-help stuff. I've been getting more into exploring finances. There's just all these other things going on that I can't just sit here and be like, I'm this one-dimensional person. This is the only thing that I focus on. This is the only thing that you're going to see me do. But running in the background is all this other potentially really cool stuff that could be helpful to other people. I'm in a unique role where I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I have been for an entire year now, and so I'm the primary caretaker of my son, but I'm also I guess not so much right now because of everything going on. I was gigging fairly regularly, still working on my craft, but also time doesn't allow for that nearly as much as it used to. I guess what I'm trying to say is there is more to me than playing my instrument, and that has been my main focus and main, like, shtick for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and I've hid behind that. There's so much more going on that deserves, you know, to be shown as well, and frankly might be more interesting than me, you know, playing through jazz tunes. Let's be honest. The only people that are checking out, you know, what guitar players are playing is other guitar players. Maybe this will resonate with other people, and if so, awesome. I now have a lot of friends that have gotten married recently, that are about to start families, that are also musicians, and it's worth, you know, putting that out there too and be like, hey guys, you can do it, you can balance it. It's really tough, but it's extremely rewarding and worth it. And yeah, all I gotta say is time management skills. That is a thing, and don't worry if you don't have that skill set and you're about to become a parent, because you'll learn it real fast, because you won't have a choice. I just got back from the store. I've rambled way too long. Got groceries in the back that I need to take back in. Got groceries in the back that I need to take in. My son's napping. Gonna try to get a little bit of playing time in while he's down, and we will try this out again soon. Not bad. Maybe. Oh, should go ahead and do the shameless plug as well. My new website is michaelingdahl.com. Link is on my channel. I'll post it in the video below. You can check out my blog post there, and you can check out my upcoming shows, which there are that many. Thanks, coronavirus. Subscribe to the newsletter. I'll just post updates of like, hey, I got a new blog up, hey, I've got a new video up, and I'd be curious to hear what topics that you want to hear about, and even if they're not music related. Like I said, got a lot of other stuff going on, and would be happy to chat about some stuff. I've got some bigger topics that I want to talk about here coming up that I've either written about but I haven't done anything with yet, and maybe this might be a better forum, better way to, you know, get these bigger topics out. Anyway, cool things coming up. I just got to get over the hurdle of getting this first one out there. Yeah, so it'll get better in time. I just gotta, you know, work through, as Stephen Pressfield puts it, work through the resistance. Okay, cool. Thanks for hanging out. Go walk your dog and eat a snack. I don't know. I gotta go.